Everyone, it's Rocky Shade again with more FGO, and okay, once again I'm listening to music because, god damn it, the title music theme when you have the Gaia 3 background playing is amazing, and once again I'm stuck doing the laundry. Cheers.
And we're also at a point where I have to do most of the talking. So get ready to hear my lovely voice from here on in, folks.
So, after spending any time on Shinjuku, we went on a side track of our own RP, which we've never said the timeline to a certain point.
We kind of do that a lot, but
no,
some people like hearing our insane ramblings.
I mean, if they do, I mean, if they don't, then why have they been listening to me?
True, very true.
Seriously, half of my channel is just me rambling.
So next up on the list, we have to discuss the second pseudo singularity.
And to many FGO players, the worst singularity in the entirety of FGO.
Why, you might ask? Well, one is gameplay. Gameplay mainly for a few boss fights.
Which I don't know about.
And second is the story. The story is worse than Septum.
And remember, Septum was essentially Nero.
Did you know we love Nero?
Well, no, I hate Nero actually. I despise Nero.
I was more referring to the writers.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. As for something else, we kind of need to discuss the person who made this story. I don't know if like the people who wrote Septum has apologized for how bad it was.
Oh, they did multiple times. In fact, they said we're sorry for such a horrible chapter that was in the base game.
No, I'm talking about Agartha.
Yeah.
I don't know if the person who did the story for it apologized.
I don't know about that either, mostly because I haven't actually looked at Agartha. Because all I know Agartha is, there's a lot of women, Columbus is a thing, and there's a boss fight with Pent and Megaros, and the two sometimes jump in and whack you or the opposing, or the enemy for a chunk of damage.
I also am reminded that it's like the story that really just... I just keep getting reminded that it's there might have been some creative rip-offing, though that's just a theory.
Anyway, on to the basis for Agartha.
What's going on in Agartha, you might ask? Well, folks, let me tell you this. Okay, to start off, the singularity is in Agartha, a place of paradise. It's essentially like fantasy becoming reality.
Apparently, it's also
Shangri-La of places in history.
Apparently, it's also underneath Central America.
It's very pretty.
Maybe that.
However, there are some issues. One, the area is now being controlled by a total of... Let's see, there's the caster and assassin of the Nightless City, so that's one.
There's
Rebellion with Columbus.
And then there's the Berserker of El Dorado, also known as Penicillia.
And we can't forget at Dahoot. So in total that's 4 factions vying for control, and there are just 2 people in the middle that are just so very confused by all of this. I'm talking about Astolfo and Dion.
Also, young Fergus.
Yeah, that was a surprising one.
He's
a very gentle boy.
Despite the fact that Fergus, when we get to him, as you will see, is a very lustful individual. Young Fergus is a stuttering schoolboy.
He is a very kind boy, though. He really wants to try his best.
He fails a good bit, and oddly enough, his sword Calibolg, it shrunk when he got younger.
I feel like that's a dick joke.
It's a dick joke.
Yeah.
It is even mentioned that the Calibolg grows with the size of its wielder's sacred weapon.
Lovely. That's
An image you didn't need to see.
No wonder. An image, a thought process, and an image that I do see in my mind, and I also now understand why Medeb considered him one of her favorites.
Yeah, no, so do I. Anyway, where is the player in all this?
Well, they get dropped off in the middle of bumfuck nowhere.
The ocean.
That's actually might be a place in Artha, mind you.
It probably is.
And they're dropped off and have to fight. If I'm correct, the first thing they encounter is some mythical beasts, which they're used to. But they also encounter Astolfo and Dion, who are, as I should mention, being not only chased away by the captivated people of the Nightless City, along with the Amazons and the Pirate Ladies. They're also sort of not welcomed by the rebellion. We now start to get into one of the most problematic things about Agartha, how it treats Dion and Astolfo. It sort of makes their gender thing a joke.
Oh joy, I didn't. How bad is it?
Well, let's see. He actually messes with Dion a lot, even to the point of insult. Even to the point of, I think, a few insults being thrown at them, and Astolfo's whole, like being a dude thing.
Yeah, Astolfo is officially a man. He's still a man, but the game labels him as neither gender.
No. Yeah.
Also, Dion gets stuck in a maid outfit. I know this one, unfortunately, and is not happy.
Not happy at all. And the worst part is, I think it's the worst part. The first part that the choices you get as the master is just as Gyudako or really anyone is just terrible. I don't know what the dialogue is going to be like in translation, but if I'm correct, that just by what I've heard, the dialogue choices you get do not make it any better. They really just did so much, and it's really problematic with those two, but it gets worse.
You know what's sad? I actually have Dion, and I've actually gotten them to 4th Ascension, and I actually use them quite a bit. Note that I say them.
I love Dion.
Note that I say them because Dion technically doesn't have a gender. Because they're
It's good that way. Their gender is yes.
Okay, literally the actual real life description for them. This is not a joke for FGO. This is an actual fact. They were either described as a beautiful man or a handsome woman. Even the history books don't know what gender they were.
Dion is good. That's all I can say. Dion is good, deserves respect, but Agartha treats them as a joke.
Seriously,
depressing.
Knight of the White Lily. According to what I looked up, that's essentially being the queen's personal guard or spy. In Dion's case, it's personal spy.
And also guard, but
more so spy than guard for Dion, because they were really good at infiltration. Dion's primary thing in life was in fact being a spy, because no one could quite tell because no one could quite tell their gender or who they worked for. because they could just they were essentially a master disguise artist, and they didn't even do it sometimes. It just kind of happened.
Anyway, moving on from that problematic thing to another problematic thing. This is more art. This is more just general plot, but we should mention what's been going on in Argartha. The rebellion is made up of only males, led by an old man Columbus,
also known as just Rider of the Resistance until your name is revealed. Which I get why they did that, because if you know who his actual name was, you know that he is not a good man. Because Columbus, you know the term rape, pillage, and murder? That was said by Columbus.
It was an originator of him. And it's the reason why one of his skills is literally called Conquistador EX.
Yeah, no, the whole rape, pillage, and murder phrase, that was something that Columbus said when he landed in Central America.
Now, the kind of thing about Columbus is just... I don't know how to put it in words other than... We'll get to him. Let's just worry about the general plot.
By the way,
going on is that
guess who fucking grailed that bastard?
We don't talk about my mistakes.
At least you consider it a mistake.
I consider it a mistake, but I only consider it a mistake out of morbid curiosity to see what he could do. And I have a depressing thing that out of all things, he's actually useful.
Get.
I mean, he has a Buster boost, his NP is good, and he has as a Voyager of the Stars.
Oh, that's actually fairly good. That's one of the best skills in the game.
Yeah, it's an NP. It's the NP boost one.
Okay, that's pretty good too.
The NP boost one with a damage boost, and not to mention the fact that he gets a Guts with an NP charge.
I see. That's actually a fairly good skill set.
The only thing I don't like about him is that... Actually, the honest thing is, I love everything about him, even bits of his personality. But it's just the fact of some things that just make me question why. Which we'll get to. But first...
That's probably the reason why.
First, let's talk about the general plot. Basically, what's been happening in Argartha is that the male gender has been basically put into slavery.
There you go.
It's not a joke or hyperbole. This is basically what it is.
I mean, seriously, I think so. The subtitle for Agartha is literally the woman of Agartha. Women have all the power. Seriously.
Also, I don't know if it's confirmed what's been happening in Agartha besides the slavery, but I think there's been some risque things that we don't want to go into because they go into it terribly.
Okay, I'll put this simply. If you guys know what a brothel is, all of Agartha has been turned into that for men. For women, because it's the men who are in the brothel. If you don't know what a brothel is, okay, and if you don't know what a brothel is, don't look it up. Don't look it up.
Don't, as a concerned basis, please don't.
And okay. If you are okay.
If you ever watched Futurama, I think Death by Snoo Snoo is indeed correct. In this regard.
If you're over 18, you can go ahead and look what a brothel is, but if you're under 18, please don't do it. I don't want to have your mother want to lynch me.
I don't want to have anyone lynching me.
Seriously, I found out the hard way by reading a book. And not a nice book either.
Well, let's just keep going.
Right, sorry. Apologies.
But yeah, basically, it's a giant amount of enslavement for the dudes.
Yay.
It's done terribly, and I do mean terribly. I had to get I literally asked an entire server to know more about this stuff than I do, and I got to hear every single detail that made me want to vomit.
How bad, Draven, how bad is it?
Well, if hell, it's more just. It's a lot of just like horrible writing that just makes the characters seem like awful and terrible. Like, let me point this out. The character, like, they make Penthesilea terrible.
That's a crime, because Penthesilea is honestly a really good character, and she's also very tragic, which we'll get into once again with characters. Just know this. I just want to tell you this. Okay, hey, Draven. Just know this. Penthesilea's MP gets a buff against Greek males, except for Leonidas.
Not the NP. Not the NP.
Sorry, she has a skill that increases damage against Greek males. Because if you know how she lost, you will get it. The only one who actually doesn't get hit by this is Leonidas, because Leonidas was before her time. And actually, Hector should also not fit this, because he was never like that, since he was technically on her side. No, he was on her side, but just it's hard to make it, huh? Unfortunately, yes, but it has been said by the writers themselves. Hector should not be a part of that because he was actually one of Penthesilea's allies. Plus, they both hate. Plus,
the fact that she can't tell friend from foe when she just goes into her pure mad rage.
Oh, she can't. Also, it makes sense because they both hate Achilles.
Yep.
Because Achilles killed them.
Yep. Hector in his old age just doesn't have any this sort of.
Well, no, actually, it has been confirmed that he still has quite a bit of rage at Achilles. He just doesn't bother because, to quote him, it's too much work. By the way,
I still love him. There's a dialogue with Achilles that I still love because he's just like, because Achilles actually is happy that he gets to work with Hector as an ally, and it's just like he hopes he can put the past behind them, and then Hector literally throws a fucking rock in his head.
Yeah, no, that's a pretty good scene. Also, speaking of Achilles, guess what? Okay, this I'm taking fully myself, Raven. You see, when Achilles throws a blader in an event, and then it's revealed that Penthesilea is in Chaldea. He suddenly freezes up, and his speech turns very robotic when he finds out that she's in Chaldea. Because he knows that the second he comes there, he is dead. Invincibility or no, she is going to murder him. Because here's the thing.
I think there's a reason why he hasn't showed up in my Chaldea. I have a level 100 pen.
Oh, that's sad. Also, here's the thing.
That's a terrifying one.
Also, here's the thing. Achilles. Okay, when Pent roars her NP and she literally screams Achilles, because in her eyes, whoever gets hit by her MP turns into Achilles for her, and she despises that green-haired prick. And I don't blame her, because
he's an ass, but he's also a genuinely good guy. He just is not smart.
Okay, here's the thing. For Amazons, strength is everything, and Achilles complimented her beauty instead of her strength when she died, which didn't sit with her well. In fact, she actually chose to be in her younger teenage self because of that. So in other words, Achilles, you fucked up Pent, and I hate you for it because I actually like Pent.
Luckily, it's thanks to her recent interlude that they might actually give her a chance to be another class. It's mainly due to the fact that after her interlude, she actually kind of comes to accept the rage and finally calm down a bit.
Well,
mainly because she got to kill Achilles.
Sweet. Now, if it actually happens, her best class is actually Rider, because of the fact that she has a chariot. That or Archer, due to the fact that she can essentially switch between weapons constantly. But Archer is the best one because she has some very powerful. She is very good at archery. So her best classes after Berserker are Rider or Archer.
It would actually be nice to see her in her older state.
That's actually pretty cool, but it might overlap with her sister a little bit. Just dead.
Yeah, though I at least hope that if there's anything I hope, I still kind of hope that she still just goes in her Archer form, where she just fucking goes in like an Amazon.
Oh, so do I. Because despite all the sadness around it, it's still an awesome MP.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the Hell Pit.
You start taking up my lines.
It's not hard to.
Anyway, so what happens after meeting Astolfo and Dion? Well, Elf, you meet up with Columbus.
Also, or just Rider of the Resistance at this point. We're just hiding it because
we're just calling him Columbus. Let's just not even beat around the bush. Let's just call him Columbus.
Yeah, there's no reason to really hide.
You meet up with Columbus at, ironically, the seaport, where you basically find him on his boat.
By the way, the only Agartha servant we're gonna hide is Castor of Nameless City, because
Castor is actually the only surprisingly well-written part about Agartha.
Despite the fact
At least I think.
Despite the fact that her outfit is all kind of stupid.
It's all kinds of. She's beautiful.
Yes, and
look at that.
But
the problem is her outfit is just. Why?
There isn't a lot of it, and it's obviously too small on her.
This is why we would have appreciated an alt for her. Just
Mm-hmm.
a summer variant would have been more covering.
Yeah, it's that bad.
As for
Although actually,
the rest,
you know what? Agartha kind of has that problem because Pent doesn't wear much either, and neither does Assassin of Nameless City. And Assassin of Nameless City is a lolly.
Oh no! Oh, that Assassin of the Nightless City is the worst.
She's not really wearing a shirt. I mean,
we'll get to that in a bit.
although neither is Pent, but Pent is an Amazon, and really it's just showing off from a.
And reminder, they at least did their best when they gave her a bit more clothing in her third section.
They also gave her massive flaming spike. They also gave her massive flaming spike balls on both of her hands and claws.
They definitely at least tried.
And hey, her eyes turn, her sclera turns black and her pupils turn orange. It's fucking awesome. Pardon my language.
There is death coming when you see those eyes.
Yeah, no, I know that.
I also love that one of her expressions literally has those same eyes, but with a very really expression.
Show me that, please.
Hold on, I'll get it. It's one of my favorite expressions. I think I can.
Meanwhile,
it's one of my favorite expressions.
While Draven is doing that, I will mention this. Agartha also has the problem of the map is a little too big for its britches, and then there's the fact that Nightless City has this really overpowered servant who's essentially a Herc times 10, yes, that Herc, and is called Megaros. It's bad. It's simply Herc on steroids, and Herc is already on steroids. So
I'll be sending it soon, but I found it.
I think, to my knowledge, there's also a blushing sprite of her with those same eyes. To my knowledge,
there is not.
Yeah.
There is not. I can confirm there is not, but just. I love. She has very few expressions, but the expressions she has are very good.
She mostly has a calm expression until you get her angry. Then it's run for the hills.
Run for your fucking lives.
And if you're a Greek male, or especially Achilles, well, just accept your death.
just accept your death. You might as well, might as well just pray that the afterlife is good.
And if you're a servant, well, the afterlife isn't too bad. Mostly.
Please go to your nearest Chaldea medical facility to get therapy for the death you just experienced.
Once the master has resummoned you, of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you sent it? Have you sent it yet?
Yeah, I sent it. Yeah, I sent it. You'll see it.
Oh, yeah, no. She has the okay, no. Apologies. It's red sclera with pure white eyes, and she just looks annoyed. Like, she looks like she has a
very annoyed, but the
like,
eyes are just what adds the terror.
Seriously, her normal expression when her eyes are like that is one of pure rage. Then there's one where she just has a blank what expression on her face. Although she has some very nice expressions, some other nice expressions, and she has two blushing sprites actually.
Yep.
But yeah, also, here's something funny. The spike things are still a thing, and look it up, it's awesome. She also has two blades, one with a blue gem in the pommel, one with a red, and they're never used, but I think I can guess exactly what they're for.
Oh no, they're used. They're used.
Eh?
I can confirm this. They are actually used in, I think, her third ascension, because I think it's used for like her arts or quick attack.
Interesting.
They're awesome.
Interesting.
I should also mention, she's one of the best 4-star berserkers in the game.
I should know that because I have 3 of them.
I mean, I don't know what it is about her, but it's just the fact that she has the easiest NP to charge in the fucking game.
Let's see. She has an MP buff that also gives MP charge over turn. She has a buster buff. She has a damage up. Oh, and she has
a buster buff for 3 turns for everyone.
Oh.
And it also has the most rad name in existence. The Bellow of Ares.
Okay, that's pretty good because Ares is actually the war god from Greek myth, and she is Greek. Also, one of her skills also give as I recall,
I should also point out that she has as the military sash of the war god.
That's pretty good. And I think that her last skill is a charisma with a nullified debuff skill, or maybe it's a heal.
Actually, okay, I can give you the rundown. She has a charisma B, which is her first skill.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Rule. Her second skill is Golden Rule Beauty, which gives a debuff immunity for 3 turns and an NP gauge charge for every 3 turns.
And her last skill is the buster buff?
Yep, for everyone in the party, and it gives the damage boost against Greek males.
Of which there are quite a few!
Yep, and she's very pissed at them. Something I should also mention about the NP gauge thing is that it goes from 10% every turn for 3 turns.
At max?
At max level, it's a 20% NP charge. And the fact that she already has a power that her NP charge with her attacks is already a powerful one.
Yeah,
she becomes a terrifying berserker that can spam her NP more than, I don't know, Raiko, Lancelot.
Actually,
Kichikata on a good day.
Actually, Lancelot does have some MP charge problems, or a lot.
He does, unless you bring about the crit bullshit.
Or you just put a kaleidoscope on him, because I have 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yes, I have 4 kaleidoscopes. I got 3 when the game just got out, when they were a lot easier to get, and the 4th one about 3 months ago.
I just have 2.
But I'm not maximum breaking it, because I want more rather than less.
A fair choice, really.
So, seriously, what one character who has their MP already at max compared to 5 who have a 80. That's pretty big difference.
Anyway, time to focus back on the plot.
Apologies.
Why? But yeah, after helping Columbus out of a bad situation, he thanks you like an old man would. In the most asshole way possible, because it's just like, you might have pissed off the entirety of the people around here. We should probably leave.
But weren't they already all pissed off at you, Columbus?
Yeah, but now they're pissed off at you. So thanks, buddy.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, Columbus. Anyway, after getting Columbus out of there along with yourselves, you end up at the resistance camp.
Oh boy.
After getting some introductions and probably some weird looks at Astolfo and Dion. Fuck you, by the way, writers, for that.
Seriously, can you stop it? Astolfo, okay, yeah, he kind of deserves it. Dion does not deserve this.
Astolfo is an asshole at times, but also does not deserve the suffering.
Yeah, Astolfo's an
Dion does not deserve suffering. They're a sweet angel. Why do you do this to them?
Seriously, they're also a tank.
Anyway,
I'd like to know. I somehow have both of the Saber tanks, Siegfried and Eon. I have both of them. And Eon is now MP2.
Yeah, they'll off. Yep, and good news, Dion gets their animation update in Argartha.
Yay! That's the only good thing. That's the only good thing coming out of it. Coming out of this for me. Besides, unless I get unless I get Pent.
Thing that confuses me.
Unless I get Pent, only good thing.
Allow me to mention this.
Sorry.
There is an animation update for fucking Drake in this. I don't understand that. It's an animation update for Drake in Argartha. I get that the Hoot is basically a corrupted version of Drake.
No, it is Drake. The Hoot is literally Drake, and she just got mixed up. She's not even corrupted.
Okay, that's retarded, but sure.
I read up on it.
It's stupid, but okay.
It's Agartha.
Yeah, I should expect this. Thank the heavens we'll be getting to something good after this. But also terrible in some ways, but we'll get to that.
Soon, hopefully.
Alright, so continuing on after escaping that, you end up finding out some things about the general status quo of this place, and you realize that you need to take care of the big heads of the faculty. You've got to deal with Megaroz, and you've got to deal with the caster and assassin of the Nightless City.
And also Pent.
The objective is basically go fight the caster and assassin of the Nightless City first. So how do you get there? Well, it's time for some disguises. The worst disguises.
As I recall, Astolfo slipped.
Astolfo gets a schoolgirl outfit, Dion gets a maid outfit.
And what do we get?
You know the Atlas Institute outfit?
Okay, yeah, no, that actually is. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It is.
Okay,
You get the Atlas Institute outfit for the male protagonist.
Okay, that is very that was in the opening. The opening.
But I don't know what you get as the female protagonist because I don't think anyone has played Agartha with the female protagonist. Or at least hasn't said anything about what happens if you play the female protagonist.
You keep going, I'll look it up.
Alright, so after some routine like hidden stuff and dealing with all of that, you end up encountering some of the I will give credit to Agartha for this, they introduced an actually pretty rad enemy design. In the form of these old ladies with like cloth covering their face.
Those are actually casters of Nightless assistants.
We have used them to comedic effect. Act with our own assassin, Nightless City.
Who, by the way, is actually a pseudo servant. Because Assassin Knight was...
Not in the actual, not the actual game, but in the RP, because really none of us wanted Woobu.
Okay, spoilers. Should we just say who Caster is?
Knight, you mean Assassin?
Sorry, Assassin. Yes.
Well, we're getting to them. So give me a sec. After some routine ass beatery with the assistants, you end up making it to the throne room. And in the throne room, you find Caster of Nightless City and Assassin. Now, after some routine fights that take for fucking ever, end me now, you end up killing Assassin of the Nightless City, and in their final words, they reveal to you their true name.
Okay, so, two things.
They are the...
Draven.
Go ahead.
So, it's still the Atlas Association outfit. It's the same one.
Oh, good.
And secondly, oh boy! So,
am I allowed to reveal the true name?
Well, while they're on their way, a bunch of pirates show in, and they make a bunch of very suggestive comments involving men packing nice things and crotch tingling. Oh.
There's a reason why people hate this singularity.
Seed.
Entry now.
Oh my god.
Can I just continue?
Oh my god. All the sex jokes. Oh, my poor eyes.
Keep going.
I need bleach.
Alright. Well, time to reveal the true name of Assassin. Wu Zetan, the female Chinese emperor.
Also known as Lollybait.
How much lollybait? They're worse than Jack.
They only have a ribbon over their chest and nothing else, and the ribbon is obviously meant to be untied. Besides that, all they're wearing was essentially a lounge robe, which is not.
The rest of their ascensions have them wearing basically a jacket that just covers the chest.
Seriously.
It's more like a ceremonial emperor's robe, but.
And Wu has been confirmed to not be a child.
It's so bad.
It's so wrong. It's so wrong. Here's the thing,
so
Wu.
In so many fucking ways.
If somehow I end up getting her, I am burning her. I mean, God, there's so much paper on my shirt. Stupid.
The worst part is that they actually aren't too bad in the character department. They're not bad. In fact, weirdly, they're one of the first characters that introduces the Chinese emperor thing of like calling themselves we instead of just like I or anything else.
It also is saddening because here's the thing: they're actually a really good support.
Yeah, they're one of the first instances of quick support before Osaka Bahaka Hime.
Osaka Hime, and then later on Scotty, who is way later on actually.
Way later on. That's when we get to Goddard Annenberg and the return of Dante's memes.
And also the fact that we are currently doing the ERP, and it's starting out very nicely, with lots of nice, sweet moments.
Yep. Now anyway, back to terrible.
Yes.
Terrible. Assassin ends up dying in the arms of Gudako. Tako telling them their true name, and Gudako's a little bit sad, but and Caster surrenders. Like, she actually just immediately surrenders after Wu dies. And is willing to go with you. There's some other comments comments about what's going on, and if I'm correct, there's a bit of an interrogation scene.
I smell a trap.
With Columbus and her.
I smell a trap. I smell a trap.
It's definitely a trap, but particularly one of the things that ends up happening is that the interrogation results in Alton Castor revealing her true name.
Scares up. Two big. Our nickname for her is Riley because she's the one who wrote the Arabian Nights.
I just call her Zade. It's so much simpler.
She's the woman who wrote who wrote 101 Nights.
And it's a really her story, and out of all of the characters in the entirety of Agartha, she's actually a really, really good character.
Here's the thing: the basis for her is she hates being a servant and being summoned. So what is her plan?
We'll find out soon. because next we end up actually, if I'm correct, getting a kind of depressing moment because our next objective is to fight Dahoot.
By the way, I'd like to know what Zade's plan to do will not make the Maid Association happy, but then again, not much does make them happy. So
the only thing that makes them happy is the only thing that probably makes them happy is if you give them a picture of a pure blank white surface. Nothing is happening, nothing is going on, just a pure blank white surface. That's what makes them happy.
Also the root.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that. Every mage wants to reach the root. Every mage wants to.
Just notice the root is supposedly is supposedly infinite wisdom.
Tell that to Sigurd and his almighty glasses.
Yeah, I know his glasses are our glass of all wisdom. Also, I'd like to note, the root is also the whole reason why the Holy Grower even became a thing.
Yep. So let's talk about what happens after Dahoot and surprisingly an actually depressing moment where Drake actually acts like herself again, and even still acting like a big sister.
Yeah, Drake is something of a big sister, and it's why I like her despite not liking her as well. For more personal reasons. That stupid boss fight. Back to some fun.
After Drake is dead and we get some slightly depressing stuff, because of just happening about. We end up going to our next objective, the Amazons, and also end up having to deal with Megaros.
As I said earlier, Megaros is essentially a Herc on steroids, and Herc is already on steroids.
He also loses a few traits that was able to basically kill Herc. He loses, if I'm correct, weak to Enuma Elish.
He loses weak to Enuma Elish, and he loses his divinity, which used to be
a rarely easy way to kill him if you had Skahak or Enkidu.
Essentially, Herc's biggest weakness was he has divinity, and a lot of things can kill divinity-based servants. And he doesn't have that anymore. He also doesn't have anything like riding or nobility or king, any sort of real weakness. They're all gone.
Yep.
Which turns him.
Terrifying thought.
Also, as I recall, he still has God Hand. Which, by the way, is the whole which essentially is, if you don't recall or don't remember or don't know, God Hand gives him 12 lives, each for one of his 12 labors.
Oh, he still has that, but it's kind of a weirdly, I think it's like a weakened version of it.
Good.
It's a weakened version of it due to the fact that while he can still survive for that long, they're just sort of. I think it's the fact that, surprisingly, even though he's Herc on steroids, he's easier to kill.
Probably. He doesn't. He also doesn't have his mind's eye skill anymore.
Oh no, he still does.
Fuck.
Like, he still can throw an evade, but I think it's like a protection from arrows variant.
Oh, that's even worse. That's even worse. That's just 3 hits straight up. And he's a berserker.
Yeah, I should also mention that this is. Remember when I said, Ed, this is where the starts of the gameplay issues come in? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to what I call bullshit.
You've already said that a bunch.
Well, this is where bullshit kicks in because, let me point out, Herc has like 3 different variants of his attacks. He has a critical attack that does a shitload of damage, but that critical attack only seems to happen when he decides to lock on to someone.
He can lock on.
Yeah, particularly I think randomly he'll lock on to a person that he's going to fuck up the next turn, and when he locks on, you aren't removing that, and it's bad if you remove it, because as if you remove it, he's still going to do the heavy critical attack, but it's going to be random who he's going to hit. Let me tell you,
Note to
he's
self, bring
pissed.
coup. Note to self, bring evade and guts users.
Oh yeah, Ku is going to be your lifesaver in that fight.
Good.
Now I should also mention he is the key mention in the fight that Herc also brings out what I like to call
According to what I
also brings out what I like to call the multi-hit for a berserker that charges NP faster, which I guess is great, but it's also a pain in the ass.
By the way, as I recall, there's one fight with him on a boat where you're fighting a few enemies to start, then you're fighting either him or Pent, then the other, and occasionally one of the two will swing in and whack someone for a large chunk of damage.
Yeah, that happens.
And due to the fact that your HP is going to be a lot lower than the enemies, it's more of a hindrance than a help.
Yep. Now, however, after getting past Hell itself, and actually ending up fighting Pent and managing to actually kill her, she actually respects you for it. Mainly because you actually didn't call her beautiful.
You call her strong?
Actually respect. Yeah.
Good.
Actually respect that you were able to win against her.
It makes sense because, by the way, Pent, even in life, was considered to be near unkillable. In fact, the only reason that Achilles even won in the first place was because he was fucking invincible. Because, by the way,
the part that he was not invincible on was, of course, the Achilles heel.
Actually, I want to go into his backstory a bit. Essentially, his mother dipped him in the river Styx, which is essentially one of the rivers of the underworld. And if you go in that one, you're likely to essentially fade away, and no one will remember you. But if you can remember it, then if you've been bathed, you'll come out invincible. However, he was held by his heel, and back then all they had to wear were sandals. Hey,
yeah.
I mean, hey, at least he didn't dive in the river Leith. The Leith River is the same.
I thought it was like a fire, though that might just be Apocrypha mythology.
Well, firstly, by the way, the river Leith erases your memory, and the river Styx is actually a river of fire and broken memories. It's not even water. It's fire. It's liquid fire, broken memories, and the screams of the damned. No, seriously. The damned are forever trapped in the river Styx.
Well, besides that disturbing shit.
Thank you, Percy Jackson.
We basically, after some respectable fighting with Pen, and then her actually revealing her true name to you, Columbus finally revealed this shit. Because one, he's literally got Megaroth on a leash for him,
Oh boy.
and he does not need you anymore. In the most, and you finally get to see what what Columbus's artist mainly worked on.
His rape face.
Expressions.
His rape face.
Columbus has one of the most unique expressions this side of this.
Okay,
I don't know, fucking Nobu.
We should probably mention that Columbus, his art style is slightly different from everyone else, in that it's kind of looks like it's made out of graphing pencil, and his face when he does his big smile, his face literally, his smile literally becomes bigger than his face.
He becomes a psychotic monster essentially, and
Oh, by the way, that also he can also be that in his sprite work, like his in battle model.
yeah, I should mention that Columbus is one of the only servants to have two different unique skill animations.
One is him eating an egg.
And the other is him tossing said egg in his mouth to eat it, and then getting a glint in his eye, and the monstrous smile, and then just laughs maniacally.
And you grailed this monster.
I did, for some reason.
At least you regret it.
I think I just have. I mean, to be fair, at the very least, I did grail and get Okada to level 80 before Columbus.
Thank you.
It was a more worthwhile expenditure because Okada was the only assassin I used besides Chiome and Carmilla.
Anyway, after Columbus reveals his true colors.
He's out for fucking blood, and let me tell you, his animations are actually really good. Like, that's the begrudging thing you can say about Columbus, is that he actually has really good fighting animations.
Anyway,
The only problem that after his true name is revealed, every now and then, his attack animations will have the occasional face change to the monstrous grin. And his noble phantasm now has that same smile, and it's horrifying.
Anyway, after you beat up Columbus.
And Megaroth.
Yay.
You're fighting them both.
Right then.
After that, you think it's over, but then you kind of forgot that Zada is still alive.
And here's the thing. Her plan is to crash the entirety of the floating continent of New. I think it's called New, or the floating continent onto Agartha, which will reveal magic to the entire world. Which as we stated before, is a very bad thing.
Revealing magic to the entire world basically puts everything to an extreme problematic thing, because, like, one, the Mages Association wouldn't be happy about that, and that's a real big problem for Chaldea in particular, since they're getting investigated.
And they're already on shaky ground.
The world's probably fucked if the world fucked. The entirety of the planet Earth is probably fucked if magic is found out to exist.
Because
everyone's gonna want magic, and the moment they figure it out, it's war all over again.
Yeah, in fact, the reason why the Mages Association is actually so frantic about hiding magic, it's not for bad reasons. It's because they know that humans are greedy, and they will want that power, and then they will use it to kill others. Because us humans are very destructive people. Things.
This has been a theme throughout all of Fate, that humans are not good people.
Humans are despicable.
They each have their own wishes, and they each have their own consequences for said wishes.
There is no true saint.
Not even Not even those who have cast away a wish. A wish just for the sake of others.
We're speaking of the ruler class, by the way.
Because as a thing, Jean isn't a saint. She admits this herself.
She in fact does not like being called a saint.
Yeah.
And really, she's just a Jean is really just a simple country girl who wanted to help others.
Amakusa is a person that wanted to save the world, but his way of saving the world was something that would.
It was
essentially,
if he got the Grail, if his wish went through, which it actually did in Apocrypha, but C took the Grail to the far side of the world, it essentially would have given the entire world apathy syndrome, which is really, really bad. Because that essentially reduces you to a slobbering, mindless wreck that can't even think.
And the case of Ace of Erlock and his ruler status is that he wouldn't ask for a wish because really, what does he have to wish for? At best, he just wants a mystery to solve.
Also, he cheated.
Fair.
He messed with his Saint graph so that he became a ruler class because he was curious.
He basically just cheated the system in the greatest way possible, and he's very proud of it.
Probably why he's always grinning.
Probably why his smile is probably why he has the confidence to just walk into a fight and literally accept. He stops mid-attack just so he can examine the enemy.
Which has led to some very awkward memes, especially if it's involving young children.
I would more say if it's involving some big-chested ladies.
Well, no, but there's a lot more memes when he goes against any of the children. Because the unfortunate problem is where he looks, and also he does kind of he does something with his hand. The unfortunate problem is where he looks and where his hand goes is usually about equal with the character's chest. It's an unfortunate problem. It's the same thing as Saber Lily's Noble Phantasm.
Yep. Right in the dick.
Poor Blackbeard.
We hardly knew ye.
Ah! Stop, please, my poor. Ah! It is essentially his dialogue.
Even Saber Lily is apologizing.
The only one who isn't is MHX.
Yep. As for the rest.
Anyway.
Basically, you've now got to fight Zade, and weirdly, you also have to fight the characters from her stories.
Yeah. So
your basic goal is to try to kill her, but the problem is that she now brings in the most bullshit thing.
That being?
I hate this so much, you have no idea. She has a defense buff that applies to a certain trait. Can you guess what it is?
I'll take this. Essentially, Zade is unique in that she can hurt and defend from servants with the king trait. There are a lot of the very strong servants have that trait. In fact, the only two that really don't fit that are, I think, Saber Lily and then Marie Antoinette, because Marie Antoinette was actually queen consort, so not actually royalty, not actually the king or queen.
And the problem is, Zade is a caster. The best thing that affects her
are riders. And
riders are home to the most have the most king traits out of all of the servants.
About 75% to 80 have king trait. Oh, by the way, speaking of Marie, I have an image that I want to show you. So you keep going, but yeah. So Zade's hard to beat because Almost all the riders have the king trait, and she has a attack and defense buff against it.
Yep, and it is painful. Let me tell you.
Draven, here is the image I was speaking of. I just sent it.
Oh yeah, I have that. Don't worry, I have that. I know how depressing that is.
What I just showed Draven was Shiki, who by the way can essentially see the lines of death on everyone. Maria only has one on her neck, because guess how she died?
Guillotine.
Ferg. It just so of course the only line of death is on her neck.
Oh, the really depressing part is that we haven't used that much.
Well, we don't actually use Shiki that much.
Yeah, we need to bring that up a bit more.
How?
I don't know.
Dead.
Some way.
It's bound to happen. We're dealing with over 200 servants, and we can only bring about 5 to every mission.
Fair. But anyway, next, she ends up summoning, oh yeah, right. Did we ever mention the Demon Pillar?
Yeah, the Demon Pillars. There are still 4 Demon Pillars, one for each singularity, and I think we mentioned the fact that they have a humanoid form.
Yeah, they now have a humanoid form due to that being the only way they were able to survive.
And they want you dead, like just you.
They don't even care what happens to them. They just want you to die.
I mean, seriously, some of the things they do later on are stupid.
Yeah, like for example, let me just point this out. Let me just throw this out there. I'm just gonna spoil Salem just for a little bit.
No, don't do that, please.
Fine.
Okay,
Fine.
are we done? Are we done with Agartha?
I think so, because like really, unless you want to talk about young Fergus using the power of the Rainbow Caldebog.
No.
Yeah, that's really it.
Next up,
But
now
we get to move on
to the hardest,
Right.
to what's considered the hardest summoner singularity of them all, Shimosa, for one simple reason. You only have one support for the entirety of it, and it's a Saber class.
Not throughout the entirety of it.
Oh.
I can confirm that you are allowed that for some of the fights you're allowed to not use Musashi, but the problem is it's mostly just regular enemies. When it's a boss fight against a servant, you better be bringing Musashi.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start with
Let's talk about
Shimosa. Here.
Alright.
So the basis is.
Let's start with this.
How about what the hell is going on and what's the basis?
Well,
And by the way, Draven, don't you dare reveal any of the new servants' names.
I won't.
Good.
Don't worry. I don't plan on it. Really, the one part that I'm gonna have a fucking field day with is talking about Raiko and Shuteng.
Yeah, because by the way, they're here.
And they are...
So, how does it all start off?
Man, if I had a weak will, I'd be drinking alcohol right now.
Dude, if I had a weak will, same here, but unfortunately, guess what? Guess it's not in the house.
Right.
Actually, wait. Wait a second. Keep going.
Alright, so talking about the unending pain that is Shimosa, let's start off with the fact that its story and everything around it, I will admit, is awesome. It's one of the best singularities.
Oh, hey, there actually. Oh, hey, Draven. There actually is some alcohol here.
Well, what do you fucking know? Anyway, it's one of the best singularities for story and gameplay, even though sometimes the gameplay is an asshole. But but it's a good story because one, it's fun. It's a mixture of focused on Gudako, but it's also focused on Musashi. And Musashi is an amazing character. Irresponsible big sister samurai is the best.
Also, we should probably note she is a dimension hopper, and guess what she has? And guess what she has that helps her lets her dimension hop.
Go on.
She has a freaking grail. And by the way, she uses it to eat udon noodles usually.
There's some comments I'll never get over hearing.
Musashi?
The fact that she's using a mystical fucking item as a bowl for her fucking udon noodles.
She has her own personal grail. What does she do with it? Gets warped all over the place and eats udon out of it, and soba, and soup, and anything that can go in a bowl. Even Dunbury.
Does she drink alcohol out of it?
No, actually.
Okay, that.
Because
I guess at least she has limits.
Because she, well, it's less that she doesn't do it, more that she can't hold her drink.
Ain't that nice?
Like,
Anyway,
she's worse than our Anastasia.
Yeah. As for.
By the way, why I said that was because we had the Anastasia and RRP get drunk recently. She took a tiny little shot glass sip of wine and instantly was drunk.
Anyway, as for the giant amount of what the fuck is going on, well, Musashi ended up here at random, and let me just try to put this out into perspective. But Gudako has no contact with Chaldea at all. Let me repeat that. Gudako has no contact with Chaldea at all. The only thing they have is the ability to summon their servants, and even then, it takes a while for her to get that.
Yeah, and Shimosa is...
She has to help her is Musashi.
And I'd like to know...
Who literally saves her ass from complete and utter damnation via walking, hulking monster samurai.
I'd also like to know... Shimosa is considered the hardest sub-singularity because it's really hard, and where you actually need a good support, you were stuck with Musashi, including against an archer boss!
Yeah, not the greatest, but luckily, if you have found a way to work with some things, you'll be fine.
Cool.
Mostly. Yeah. Solve all your problems with your local dog.
Yeah, I know we keep saying this, but Ku is just... usually, unless you're fighting against all sabers, Ku is kind of an instant win button. Usually.
Do you want to survive? If yes, contact your local Ku. Do you want to win and do good damage? Contact your local Ku. Do you have servants that basically can't die? Contact your local Ku.
Seriously, he has nicknames like the Immortal and Cockroach. And while yes, her can't and by the way, while her can technically do the same, he also needs to be Bond 10 for that to happen, which is really bloody hard to do.
Yeah. And not to mention, also mention that if you need to eat one of the best bros in all of existence, contact your local Ku.
It's kind of sad that this running gag of Lancer died.
He does not survive anything.
In Carnival Phantasm, but Carnival Phantasm is a joke anime, so yeah.
If there's anything we recommend you watch out of the just fate-related things, just watch Carnival Phantasm. Lancer is dead.
No, warning. If you watch Carnival Phantasm, we are not. If you watch Final Fantasy, do not get mad at us losing brain cells. That is your doing. You chose to do it. Don't get mad at us, people.
Stupid. It's stupid, but I at least recommend watching just all of the Fate scenes because those are amazing. There is nothing more hilarious than seeing fucking. There is nothing more hilarious than the regent himself, Sasaki Kojiro, in a semi-truck with the fucking shrine on it.
Because he can't leave the damn shrine. Thanks, Medea.
Yeah.
Thanks, Medea.
The best. And also Medusa on a bicycle.
Okay, that one's actually kind of funny.
That's the cutest thing ever, and especially since they end up crashing.
Actually, there's an anime. I can't say the name, but it's essentially a slice of life from the Fate people. There is one with Medusa driving an SUV up a mountain, and Rin's hair is in a ponytail. Just thought I should mention that because that is a thing apparently.
There's a thought process I want us to go through at some point, but can you actually imagine Alice and Lilith in their own Grail War?
Yes, actually, and here's my response. Just surrender, people.
Fair.
Okay, if you're wondering why that is, if you didn't watch the last one, Alice and Lilith, our RP characters, are essentially pseudo servants, and they're still human.
To be fair, if we were doing a Grail War, they wouldn't be that level.
Okay, fair.
They'd be more basic.
Yeah, but
They're still at least strong.
I mean, Alice can literally reinforce her arms and fight on servant level, even without all the shit she went through. Liz can fucking... She's a fucking reality warper. I will not apologize for that.
Not reality warper.
No.
More like...
She is.
Feels like it's...
It's downplayed because of all her other abilities. But no, she can bend space and time if she wants to. She just doesn't because... It's exhausting. Well,
time is still a little...
well, fair. But she can bend space to her will if she wants to. She just doesn't because it's exhausting. And it's also gives her a massive headache. I never said being a reality warp. Being a reality warper does not mean you are not invincible to headaches. I'm sorry.
But yeah, we'll continue that thought process later.
Right. Anyway,
Red Shimosa, after getting some help from Musashi, you're finally able to summon your servants again. Just in time to find out what the hell is going on. At a certain time of the day, a blood moon and the blood red sky comes around, and the demons start walking around. So you end up meeting an apparition that refers to himself as the caster of Limbo.
I'm actually gonna spoil this one because you actually don't technically fight him. His name is Ashaya Domanya, and if you don't know who that is, I'm not surprised. He's essentially an alternate version of Merlin. He's essentially the Japanese Merlin. No.
Essentially, and with how he is, he technically is also what can be considered Merlin, a very much more sadistic Merlin.
He's also an alter ego, so...
Yep, and he is a terrifying one.
And now, by the way, if you've ever seen Tokyo Ravens, yes, I'm talking about that guy, the one with the red shades. Yes, that Ashaya Domanya.
I still kind of fear what the hell that alter ego's ascensions are gonna look like when we get him.
Anyway.
Why is he even supposed to show up anyway?
Apparently he's supposed to be he's supposed to show up near the end, like Camelot, like Gut and Voids.
That's depressing. I was hoping he'd be sooner. but I guess we'll probably get Tamamo.
It's only,
soon.
it's only a theory, and Vitch's guts. Vitch's guts is servant.
Seriously, I thought it was.
No.
I thought his servant was the brown-haired girl with the white dress and the top hat.
Okay, that she might be she might also be a part of it, but no, it has been confirmed. Tamamo Vitch is Guts' servant.
You know, I question that, but it's actually fitting.
It's Gut.
Yeah, it's Gut, and as I think we've confirmed, Tamamo Vitch is just a little bit sadistic.
A little bit. How?
Literally, it's the one of the Tamamo 9 that actually be considered a monster.
Have you seen her angry face?
How about angry face? Her angry face, her smile, the fact that she actually has a sinister sneer here, and the fact that literally she forces the protagonist to go to a lost belt by poisoning them.
It was actually supposed to full on poison them, but then another guy ate half of the poison because it was a cake. More on that later. More on that later.
For now, back to Shimosa, and the apparition decides to do something to another friend you just met. That's a personal weird servant, but a guy that I like. Krillin!
Lancer Purgatorio.
Or...
No, we're not revealing their true names, remember?
His name isn't even hidden. He actually says his true name.
But he referred to as Lancer Purgatorio!
Yeah, but he says his true name. He actually doesn't hide it from you. He just says his true name because it's like, oh hey, you guys are cool.
Okay, he's essentially a Buddhist monk.
A Buddhist monk that decided to not give up his spearmanship. He decided to basically practice both the Buddhist faith and his spearmanship.
Enough that he has his normal phantasm isn't even an attacking move, but it's strong enough that it essentially is his spearmanship has been crystallized into literally his own spirit origin. I looked it up.
And he is fucking ready to kick ass.
Yeah, but then he gets corrupted.
And you have to fight him, and you get some actually. The kind of thing about the fight with him is that it is kind of depressing because when you fight him, Gudako is very hesitant.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah, because he seemed like a really chill guy.
He is.
He was a chill guy.
He's just been corrupted into an absolute monster. Screw you, Dominia.
In the end, after killing him, I don't know what happens, but I think he actually thanks you for it.
I looked it up. He says, "Thank you, Master Chaldea, for saving me from this cursed fate. I hope may faith protect you, and maybe in the future I will protect you as well."
It starts to hurt. After and after some reeling they end up Musashi and Gudako end up finally getting to a village. Said village ends up being inhabited by a few interesting folks, such as Tamamo for some reason.
Yeah.
And a young Kiyohime.
Who, by the way, is the most adorable little muffin ever.
She really is.
Here's the thing. They even have a unique sprite for her.
Yep.
And I'd like to know, this is before Anshin betrayed her.
Yep.
And she acts, and she's not as yandere as her older self. I say older, but she's really only old.
She's
She's only about older by
just
about 2 years.
Sweet. She's just sweet, kind, and is still trying to be a good wife.
Just she hasn't been corrupt yet.
However, we'll get to something about that later. She's also housing someone with her. Besides the person she's staying with, you also end up finding out about people. Well, technically 3, but first of all, you end up finding out about the ninjas there. One being Kotaro Fuma.
Fuma Kotaro. No, it's Fuma Evil Wing Kotaro. Bloody hell.
I know, but I prefer just the simple name. simple thing, and just go with it. Anyway, the other person you end up finding out about this, and this I can reveal because her name was not hidden.
I know that.
Hidden. Kato Danzo.
Who was essentially part of the Fuma clan and was sent on a mission. She's also, well,
a robot.
Yeah.
A very surprisingly advanced one.
Mm-hmm.
That weirdly looks like Blake from RWBY sometimes.
Don't insult her.
Yeah, fair. To be fair, I'm talking about pre-Volume 4, Blake.
Don't insult her.
Okay, fine.
She's also, well, her outfit could use a bit more covering.
To be fair, it does get more covering in like the later stages.
Okay, and it also does make sense because she is a Kunoichi, female ninja, and Kunoichi did use seduction a lot more than actual straight up fighting or sneaking about or assassination the males.
She also comes with one of the more cool noble phantasms because she literally spins her arm so fucking hard that it turns into a fucking tornado.
Mm-hmm.
It's rad.
It is. And yes, she is most definitely a robot.
And we have one of the greatest old man samurais ever.
Saber Imperio!
Great, powerful old man. Wait, wasn't his true name revealed as well?
No, I checked. I'm sure. He hides.
Hold on. I'm going to check this because I will check this myself. Look, we can say true name. If there is no true name reveal, then we can say his name.
He literally is called. He's called Saber Imperio.
It's one of his titles, but
no, it's what he calls himself.
Okay, I do not get it sometimes. What the hell this does? Because like it's weird that I do not remember there being like a true name reveal thing for him when I played Shimosa.
How long ago did you play Shimosa?
Say about a year or two ago.
Exactly.
You have no right to say anything when you've done the same shit.
I actually haven't.
You ever forget bullshit?
Ow! My foot! My controller! I dropped my controller by accident. Okay, whatever. I'm forgetful, but I'm not like that. Anyway, back to it.
Yeah, back to it. So you meet the greatest old man, and he sort of gives you the lowdown of what's going on, and he really just does want to help you out. Out. So he basically gives you a rundown of what's going on, what's been affecting the people, and what's gonna happen. However, well, shit hits the fan earlier than you could ever expect, because some folks decide to show up and ruin your day. And who decides to ruin your day first, you might ask? Well, Archer of Inferno.
Who, yes, her fire is all about her. Her arrows are made of fire. She has fire coming out of her sometimes. And by the way, she's only an archer because her best weapon is a bow. She also uses a naginata, which is essentially a Japanese spear, and a katana.
She is very powerful with all of those.
And she also has and her skills, as I recall, are a Buster buff, a
Buster buff that comes with. Actually, no, she doesn't have Buster buff.
some sort of attack buff. I know she gets a guts buff, and a T-star buff.
Let me see. I'll just bring up her page while I'm here.
She's also. Can I spoil her personality, or should I just keep it silent until characters?
We can talk about it a little bit since we're going to be but first off, I need to talk about what's going on with her right about now. Similar to Lancer of Purgatorio or Ishin, and she's been corrupted.
And
it's really depressing.
It's also creepy because her eyes are pure red orbs, and she has this slasher smile on her face. I'd like to know, all of her expressions when she's not corrupted are adorable, and also kind of scary at times.
Yeah.
So seeing this and my friend is a massive fan of Archer of Inferno. Like, they literally said so many number of days until, well, I'm not going to reveal her name, but yeah. Massive Tomo fan. I saw myself. No one heard anything.
I didn't even hear you say anything.
Good.
Now, as another thing we need to... Now, basically, you end up fighting her, and after get a bit of a fight with her, and then you get another fight with her where you basically find out one of the rules of this place. It seems that what's going on here is essentially a gathering of the strongest and most powerful Japanese warriors. The results of this are that whenever these two enter a duel, a barrier is basically put around the area that essentially is a giant reality marble that basically gives them a dueling arena. This applies to every single boss fight that Musashi participates in. And the reality marble is kind of disturbing. You want to know what it is, folks? It is, and I quote, an entire valley where the ground is made of skulls, and it's usually storming, and there's a dead tree. The environment actually changes depending on which boss you're fighting. And if I'm correct, I think there is a little bit of fire with Archer of Inferno.
Oh well.
Just a little, not too much. It's less like you see the flames. To be fair, it does get a bit more blunt. Just in case you want some, for example, one of the boss fights gets literally a snake in the background. Oh, the obviousness is killing me. Yeah. You end up getting into a fight with Archer of Inferno, and the creepy smile aside, right, after beating them, they finally are freed, and you get to actually hear them talk normally for once. Which as can be quoted, Kudako is still a bit reeling from what she heard. Through this, you find out Archer of Inferno's true name, and get a bit more depressed as she dies.
Mm-hmm.
Her death will result in, after being freed, how do I put this in the best way, shape, and form? What's the word I'm looking for here? Well, we can say her true name now, I think. The true name of Archer of Inferno is Tomoe Gozen,
who is the half-only concubine of Lord Unamori? I think it's Unamori.
Hold on, checking.
I say half-only because she has horns.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. The beloved concubine of Kiso no Yoshinaka, Minamoto no Yoshinaka.
Thank you.
Also the person that defeated Minamoto no Yorimoto. Also, just a small thing about Tomoe that I love. It's just the naming of her gut skill. I don't know why I love it, but it's just called Adrenaline Rush. I think it's just the fact that it's like the most realistic version of guts you've ever heard. It's a set adrenaline rush that keeps them alive. It's also a really good guts buff because it's 1,000 HP. It also increases their max HP for 5 turns. It's a good one. Not bad. Next up after depression, let's go into some terrifying horror. Why do I say that, you might ask? Well, after some issues and heading out to find more of the enemies, just so you can get the singularity over with, it ends up, something happens and Kudako ends up being kidnapped by two of the warriors that were brought here. Who are the 2 warriors, you might ask?
Raiko and Shootin.
Oh, fuck.
They do a thing. Oh boy.
Well, Shuten does a thing. Raiko sort of like still acts somewhat motherly, but then disturbing in the next second, if I'm correct.
I'd like to note that
quite possibly one of the most.
I'd like to note that Shootin is a berserker and Raiko is a writer.
Yep. And things happen in this. What do I mean by things? Oh, how about the fact that this is a thing I read about fucking Shuten literally disembowels Kudako. And proceeds to stick her finger in her guts. It's poking and prodding. All the time, Kudako can still feel this. Mind you, at first, originally, at first, I thought that what Shuten was doing was literally taking one of Kudako's bones, because, you know, she eats bones, melted them down and all that. But no, the reality is much worse. And do I even need to mention the horrifying look she has when she does this?
Nope.
There's her seemingly just trickster smile, and then there's the terrifying smile. And there's not even a terrifying smile. There's just... I'm gonna send it to you. I hope you know this.
I probably do.
Good! Glad you do. If I get to suffer, someone else does. But let me continue on explaining what the fuck happens, because after that horrifying scene, as an interesting thing of stuff you find out, their titles in Shimosa are, and I quote this, hold on, I gotta try to read this.
By the way, it didn't send.
I haven't sent it yet.
Oh.
I'm trying to read the title. I'm trying to read the title of this. And it apparently is, and I'm quoting this, Samgahata Hell Berserker. And of course, the same applies to Raiko, Samgahata Hell Rider. And it's, whoo boy, not fun. Not fun at all. So, after a long and most painful fight, we can't go into the... Am I allowed to go into the gameplay side of things with this?
Go for it.
Okay, so let's talk about this fucking fight. Okay, so how do I start off with this fight? Well, first of all, Shuten's a berserker, Raiko's a rider. Everything is a painful experience with this fight because, let me just point this out. Both have on-hit debuffs. One, if I'm correct, inflicts curse upon you. Curse stacks heavily, and the other inflicts you with NP gain down. And this is terrible in so many ways, and that's not even talking about that both of them have the most painful damage you can imagine.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah, that's a horrifying face, ain't it? And let me tell you, her dying is just, oh boy. When she dies, she just dies with both eyes of a simple smile on her face. But the depressing part is she dies with just... The way she dies is sudden and kind of depressing because she just looks at you with just those cold fucking eyes as she dies. Not fun. And I mean, if that wasn't already traumatizing enough, if, getting disemboweled was one thing, the Shuten thing might be worse. Just Shuten disemboweling you is one thing, but seeing her die is quite possibly another. But after that, and after some traumatic addict just trying to heal from the suffering you just experienced, Akko tries to rest, but something ends up happening. What ends up happening, you might ask? Well, sudden attack from a fucking Orochi.
Mm-hmm.
And well, you gotta kill it, and the thing that summoned it, or should I say person that summoned it, well, she seems angry, pissed, and angry. She kind of wants your head.
You think?
Yeah, boy. The results of this fight are a painful one to be exact. This is where Curse comes into full effect. Because you're experiencing all of it, buddy. If there is a servant that specializes in cursing, it's this one. The boss fight is essentially a simple one. You're fighting an assassin, try to kill assassin, they have a curse stacking thing, and their NP is single target that summons a snake.
Cheers.
Simple. Simple, right? Yeah, it is. It's still painful, though. But luckily, you can survive it. Somewhat. Eventually, after killing them, you do find out their true name.
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce their first name. So I'm just gonna go with saying Chiome.
That's all I really need to say.
Chiome, cool ninja. Really kind, really actually kind and loyal. Actually refers to you, will actually just refer to you as, if I'm correct, my lord.
Yeah, she does. Uh-huh.
And also, one of the things I have memed about on multiple occasions is that she looks like CL Phantomhive. It even gets worse when you realize both of them cover their right eye.
Yep.
It's Anyway, they're really nice and adorable. Deserves head pats.
Yes.
After dealing with Depression Ninja 2.0, more depression happens. With what, you might ask? Well, Kiyohime ends up going berserk. Not even joking there. And you have to fight her to calm her down. Luckily enough, you are able to calm her down, but I should also mention something that ended up happening in the previous fight. How do I put this in the best way? Musashi loses an eye.
Yeah.
It's depressing, but I think she did it to defend Budako from an attack and ends up losing it. But you also get at Musashi looking awesome. She's actually fine with losing her eye. She just smiles. She just smiles and waves it off. But hey, luckily enough, we're getting close to the end.
Yay.
Thank you. However, there comes two problems with this. Oh boy. Okay, let's start off with the first thing. You end up Caster of Limbo getting pretty fucking annoyed that you're still alive. I've just said, "What's up, fuckers? Behold my final form," and transforms into a big ass ghost that you fucking wreck.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's actually the easiest fight in all of... That's literally the easiest fight in the game.
Against two? Against two?
Caster of Limbo.
Oh yeah, that's a pretty easy one.
Yeah, he's a caster. He's just a caster, and if I'm surprised, but I think it's like one of the I don't remember correctly, but I think it might be one of the only fights where you're allowed to not bring Musashi.
You don't have to bring her, yeah.
It's funny. It's just like, well, I guess we're done here. Oh wait, never mind. Never mind. Motherfucker had a backup plan, and what was his backup plan? Oh, I don't know. How about bringing an Avenger Amakusa?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that's bad, because Amakusa is ready to bring down fucking Big Crunch. He's ready to basically bring the end of the fucking world.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's bad. That's bad. It's really bad. But it gets worse. How does it get worse, you might ask? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you. On your way to go fight and deal with Amakusa, because you immediately rush there, something ends up happening. You meet an unexpected roadblock. Saber of Imperio.
Yeah.
I want to point this out. You do not expect this at all, and it's a little bit terrifying. Because this old man samurai walks up and just is like, I'm going to fight you now.
Yeah.
The man is going to murder you. And I want to point this out, he wasn't corrupted at all. He wasn't ever corrupted. He literally only accepts the corruption so he can fight one-on-one with Musashi.
Mm-hmm.
And fighting him is a very amazing thing. Because, well, it's a pain in the ass. That's one thing. But also just cutting through some certain things. He also has one of the most badass NP animations ever.
Horrible. Hendra Indoor, something like that. And then just pain.
Yeah, there's also the fact of the meme name given to him, which is Sitting Simulator. Literally all of his skill animations have him sitting.
Mm-hmm.
Or he enters a state of pure calm and collective just so he can boost his arts performance just to wreck your ass 6 ways from Sunday. And let me tell you, he does so. Gameplay side, I don't want to go into this much because it's really not that bad. Because next up, oh boy, it's my favorite, it's Amakusa. And he's an Avenger. I love Amakusa here because he is pissed. This is actually the one time where you get to see what would happen if Amakusa never let go of his anger and rage. So after beating the shit out of him, the day is saved. Or so you would think. Wrong! There was one backup plan that Mr. Castor of Limbo had in store. And really, it wasn't even a backup plan that worked. The backup plan to defeat Musashi and really kill you was, and I quote this, the original Sasaki Kojiro.
Mm-hmm.
Saber and all. And he's still a 1-star servant.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, the man is terrifying. And you get one of the greatest boss fights in the fucking game. It is a fair one-on-one duel between Musashi and Kojiro. It is rad. It is so rad that I just keep remembering it to this day because I remember putting the theme "Stand Unrivaled" with the fight because it's fucking awesome.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the easiest fights because there's no gimmicks. You were literally just fighting Kojiro, one-on-one, with just his skills and Musashi's. Both are evenly matched, and both are awesome. And also, to mention something, secretly, without anyone ever noticing, Kojiro got an animation update.
Yep.
And this was why. He has the most epic 1-star service animations ever. Ladies and gentlemen, the Regent. The savior of France. Oh right, forgive me. I was fangirling too much. We forgot to mention Saber Emporio's true name.
Yagyu Munemori,
Munenori.
the Sword Saint.
The old man samurai who is the best old man samurai. He's a great old man. There's not much else we can really say other than just look up his animations. They're the best, and they're all based on actual sword skill or fighting moves he actually used in his life. They're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Should also mention that this is a bit of a first, or that Shimosa does bring a first in terms of a change. Now, technically, it isn't the first in MASH, but Musashi's Noble Phantasm changes in Shimosa. After you defeat Yagyu, she ends up reaching the, what was it called again that the original Musashi reached?
I don't actually know.
It was like the pure, hold on, I need to check this. It's gonna bug me until I look it up, so I need to confirm this.
Huh?
I'm looking it up. Oh. Okay, so I was able to find it out. This Musashi apparently was able to fully reach a swordsman state known as nothingness.
Interesting.
The only people who have reached this, there are very few people who have reached this. Particularly, it's definitely a weird one.
Alright, the final fight was Musashi's nothingness versus Kojiro's infinity, I think it was.
Nothingness versus infinity. And the winner, despite everything, is Kojiro.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to land a killing blow on Musashi, and she's fine with it.
Despite the fact that you actually do beat him, it's not truly.
A victory. In the end, the blow you have landed really did not mean much. Musashi is lost. She dies, but she dies, and Gyudako sort of breaks a little bit because they don't want her to go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And as a final request, as Gyudako just panics and just sort of goes into a state of shock, Musashi asks one last request of Kojiro after that fight. Get Gyudako out of here. Because right about now they're in a burning building.
Yeah, that's bad. And Kojiro does.
He's a man that honors requests.
He's like, there are a lot of things where Kojiro is a good person. Yes, he's essentially a Ronin, which is a name for a samurai bandit, but he's a good person.
He's never a bad guy. He's just a person that does what he wants.
And he can be indifferent.
Very indifferent. And he's still awesome.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
should also mention something about Osa in particular with Kojiro, is that for this appearance for Kojiro, he actually gets an artist change. The artist is Sakaguchi.
Interesting.
Yep.
Anyway.
Expression sheet and everything, and he looks awesome.
Anyway, Draven.
Should we stop here since it took that fucking long?
2 hours. We're almost at the 2 hour mark.
Yeah, so should we stop?
Yep, and next time it's time for Salem and part 1.5 events. Because boy, there's quite a few good ones in there.
Very good ones. And then there's CCC.
Which is
That's gonna be a pain in the ass.
No, why would it be a pain in the ass?
Difficulty.
Oh, hush.
Well, we'll see you then, folks.
This has been Rakshas Shade.
And the ever famous vagabond whose fucking had his throat destroyed thanks to this.
Apologies. Talking about more FGO. Oh boy. And we are nowhere near done, folks.
Fuck.
Yep. Thank you all very much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Ciao!